All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tuesday Night Thrive. I'm excited, as usual, every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We give you guys value on what's going to help you get your business to the next level and even just your life to the next level. I mean, if you guys have been on any of these Thrive calls the last 8 to 12 weeks, I've recorded all of them. If you haven't gone and watched them on my YouTube channel, go and watch them. But we've been dropping straight value on these calls. We've had guest speakers come on. I've been speaking from the heart on some of the stuff that I've learned over the years in this industry, and they've been very helpful. I've gotten such good feedback from everybody on some of the things that we've trained on. And so if you've missed any of them, go to my YouTube channel and watch the ones that you've missed, because I truly believe the information that we've been talking about can help you get your business and your life to the next level. It's the reason why we do these calls, right? We don't have to do them, but we just do them because I truly have a giant heart for helping people, right? I mentor people, and I tell people everything that I've learned in this business, not to annoy them, but to help them understand how to get to the end faster, right? How to get to the finish line the quickest way possible. And I know Tyler Sorensen and some of these other leaders on this call, like Coach CJ and Maldo and Werner and Joey, they'll all tell you the same thing. The reason why they mentor and they teach you the things that they've gone through is to get you to the end 10 times faster. And so the information that you're going to hear tonight is going to be information that's going to help you get to the end faster, help you get to financial freedom faster. So make sure that you got pen and paper ready and you're taking notes. And guys, if you're really serious, you'll have your camera on, right? You'll have your camera on, like Tyler Erkman, like Coach CJ, like Taylor Tyner, like Eric Vasquez, right? All these guys have their camera on. Why? Because it shows that you are engaged and you are tuned in to the information that is being spoken to you. On these mentorship calls, I always have my camera on because I want the speaker to know, yo, I'm dialed in, I'm listening, and it holds me accountable to not getting up and moving during the call. So make sure your camera's on. If you're serious about, absorbing the information on this call, make sure you got a pen and paper. And I'm going to just pass it over to Tyler. There's nothing I need to say other than maybe talking this guy up for the next 10 minutes. I'm just kidding. But I literally could say that many good things about this guy. I mean, he has built a massive organization from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I mean, this guy is living in a town and surrounding areas where there's a lot of farmland and not a lot of people. And he's been able to hit Chairman 10, literally living in the middle of nowhere. We're talking about a 6-figure income in this business. And it's just remarkable to me, not only what he's been able to do on the income side and the business that he's built, but the respect that he's gained from so many different people because of his work ethic and because of his leadership and because of his consistency to just go build this thing and do whatever it takes, no matter what anybody says about him or who sticks around or who doesn't stick around or who wants to roll with him, who doesn't want to roll with him. It's all good. He just stays focused and he keeps doing what he knows he needs to do in order to win in this business. So I want you guys to type some 7s in the chat, type some fire emojis in the chat, type some Eau Claires in the chat. If you guys are excited to hear from my man, Mr. Tyler Sorensen. Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir. I can, loud and clear. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, bro. I'm going to spotlight you and you are good to take over the call.
Perfect. Well, AJ, I appreciate the introduction. And guys, he wasn't lying. We did talk for like 45 minutes this morning. And, when he asked me to do the Thrive call, I didn't initially know what I was going to talk about. And after talking with AJ, AJ really wanted me to cover, why it's important for every single person on this call to go vegan. Okay. So we're going to teach everybody how to go. No, I'm just playing. I did say that though. And he, see him fist pumping. We did talk about that, I swear. But no, guys, I talked with AJ and, we were talking and I was just going over, some of the things that I feel have really helped me and some things that I've even, taken for granted over the last 5.5 years that I've been a part of this industry. And I was listening to an audio that I listened to in my first year in the industry. I was at my first ever convention and I went to this convention and I saw some 6-figure earners cross the stage. And I remember when I was going home from that convention, I ran into one of them at the airport. And so I kind of got to have some like personal one-on-one time with them. And I asked him, I was like, hey, how did you do it? Like, how did you go to 6 figures, in this business? And he said, he gave me the link to an audio on YouTube. And he said, I listened to this audio. It's an hour long. He said, I listened to this audio every single day until I hit 6 figures. And I was like, okay, if that's what he's doing, then I'm going to do the same thing. So I started listening to this audio over and over and over again. I listened to it probably for like 45 days in a row, every single day, an hour a day while I was at the gym, driving, doing whatever. And then, you know, I did fall back from it a little bit, but all the things from listening to it so many times, it got just like kind of imprinted into my subconscious mind a little bit. And I'll still find myself like quoting it, you know, 5 years later. And I just listened to it for the first time yesterday, you know, probably in the last 4 years, first time I've listened to it. And I'll drop it for you guys at the end. So don't worry, but I wrote down some things that I want you guys to take away. I want you guys to write down as well. I know AJ said, you know, get your pen and pad out and write these things down. And the reason for it, guys, is not the cliche saying of, you know, note takers are money makers, but more so you forget 90% of the information that you hear. Anything that you see and anything that you hear, you forget 90% of it. You know, literally by the end of the night, by tomorrow morning, you won't even remember 90% of the things that I said. So I really want you guys, I got a notepad out here. Guys, I got this notepad out. I got like 4 or 5 pages of just some notes that I wanted to make sure that I got right for you guys. And I want you guys to do the same. Okay. I want you guys to get out a notepad. I want you guys to write these things down and retain as much as humanly possible. But it's the 6 philosophies that I've learned from this audio that I feel have applied or that I've been able to apply really well over the last, you know, 5.5 years in this industry that have helped me not only in this business, but even in life in general. Okay. So I'm going to share these 6 philosophies with you guys that help me, and hopefully you guys can get some value, you know, from these things as well, guys. And philosophy number 1, I want you guys to write down that profits are better than wages. At the top of your paper, write down profits are better than wages. And now, guys, some of you right now most likely are probably working, you know, a full-time job, or maybe you got a couple part-time jobs and you're doing this business, you know, as your escape plan. You're doing this business as a means to replace the income from your job so you can have more freedom, go full time, do these things, you know, that you hear us talk about all the time, right? Freedom, freedom, freedom. This is a word that we hear a lot. But the reality is, guys, when I joined this industry 5.5 years ago, I didn't really know that I was going to go and make this my career. I didn't know that, right? I got started because I was going to college. I was 20 years old, going to UW Eau Claire. And, you know, I saw the ability to maybe bring in an extra $500 to $1,000 a month, part-time, literally just doing this on the side. But what ended up happening was I fell in love with what this could do for my life if I really took it serious and I really became a professional, you know, inside of this space. But underneath, you know, profits are better than wages, I want you guys to write down the magic of part-time. I want you guys to write down the magic of doing this business, you know, part-time, guys, because wages can make you a living, but profits will make you a fortune. And what's really awesome about all you guys on here that are probably doing this, you're starting this off brand new and, you know, you still work a full-time job. One, first and foremost, you should not feel bad about working a job, because, guys, what you got to understand is you can use the money that you're making at your job to fund your business, to fund your trading, right? To fund your dreams, to fund your fortune, right? But you get to tell people, hey, I'm working full-time on my job, but I'm working part-time on my fortune, right? And it won't be long until I'm able to work full-time on my fortune, right? And this is the story that you can actually begin to tell people as you're going out and building this business. Because, guys, that was my first goal when I got started, was I knew I wanted to do this full-time, but then once I made a little bit of money, I'm talking like $100, $150, I was just like, wow, what if I could replace my income that I was making from my jobs? What if I could make the same amount of money doing this part-time, right? Doing this on the side as my, you know, quote unquote side gig. So that was like my first goal, right? So then it got to a point where I was able to say, hey, listen, I'm working my business and I'm now making just as much working on this part-time as I'm making working my full-time job, right? So it created an amazing story, right? And that was a story that I would go around and I would share with people. Listen, I'm just doing this on the side part-time, right? And I'm now making just as much, and actually I'm beginning to make more than what I'm making working full-time on my job. Would you like to hear my story, right? So this is real life things that you guys can begin to say to people. It doesn't even matter if you've, you know, made any money yet or not, but you can begin to tell people, you know, that you're doing this part-time, and it won't be long until you're able to work full-time on your fortune, you know, and you're able to not even need a job if you don't want to. But here's why part-time is so attractive. The reason for it being, guys, is because you can make P600 money. You can make P1000 money, P2000 money. You tell somebody that you're making $600 a month, $1,000 a month full time, nobody cares, right? Nobody bats an eye. If you're making that kind of money full time, you know, nobody wants to hear your story. But if you tell somebody, hey, listen, I'm working full time, but I got this part-time thing going where I'm making an extra 600, 1,000 a month, and it's starting to change your lifestyle. Now everybody wants to hear your story, guys. Because think about it. What does an extra $600 to $1,000 a month do for the average person? That is an insane change in lifestyle in a very quick amount of time for any person. I don't care who it is. I mean, we're talking an extra $7,200 to an extra $12,000 a year on the side. What does the average person need to do? How many more hours do they need to pick up at work to make an extra $7,200, an extra $12,000 a year? Right. And sometimes I feel like we get ahead of ourselves a little bit and we start, you know, vomiting on people and saying like, hey, I'm going to go become a six-figure earner, a millionaire. I'm not saying don't speak these things into existence. You definitely want to do that. But you got to understand, I'm speaking from my own experience here. When I got started, I just wanted to do this part-time. And once I did this part-time for a little bit, I started to realize what was possible in the bigger picture, guys. So it's the magic of doing this thing part-time. If you're doing this part-time right now, don't feel bad about it. Actually use that in your story, use it to your advantage, because you're going to be able to relate to so many more people and cast the vision, guys. And philosophy number 2, I want you guys to write this one down. It's not what happens that determines your life future. It's what you do about what happens. I'll read that again. It's not what happens that determines your life future. It's what you do about what happens. And, you know, in this audio, he talks about how we're all in a sailboat, right? And it's not about the blowing of the wind that determines your destination, but rather the set of your sail, because the same wind blows on all of us, right? And I want you guys to think about that. The wind of disaster, the wind of change, the economic wind, the social wind, the political wind, all these things blows on all of us. Guys, there's 67 people on this call, me included. All of us have our own problems in life, right? And some of them at different levels and some of them at different times than others, but we all have problems. But the crazy thing is your problems are not unique at all. The same wind that blows on you blows on everybody else. So therefore, it's not about the blowing of the wind that determines your destination, but rather the set of the sail, AKA your mindset, the way that you think. And that's really why, learning is so important, because it helps you to, learn new ways to set a better sail, right? Where you can set a better sail this year than what you had last year. Because guys, when I got started in this industry, I've been in this industry now for almost 6 years. 6-year anniversary will come up here in May. And I got to tell you, the first 3 years, over 3 years actually in this industry, I wound up struggling a little bit. Like I wound up a little bit broke, if we can be honest. But over the last couple of years, I've wound up making a lot of money. Over the last couple of years, I've wound up making multiple 6 figures. But the first 3 years, I wound up barely getting by. And the reason for it being is the set of the sail and the learning process, right? I had to learn a lot of things to get to the point a few years ago where I could set my sail differently, where I could get different results. So again, it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination, but it's the set of your sail. And here's what's really cool about it is I want you guys to answer in the chat box, who can do that? Who can learn new ways to set their sail differently? Who can do that? I want to see if anybody can guess it. I don't know if the chat box is on. There we go. Yeah, everybody. Anybody can do that. Anybody with enough ambition, anybody with enough ingenuity can do that, guys. But here's what's really cool about the ones that are on this call right now. There's a lot of people that never show up to the class. There's a lot of people that never have the conversation. There's a lot of people that don't show up to the call, right? And because of that, they might not make the discovery. Because of that, they might not hear that one thing that changes their life forever. Because guys, you got to understand, most people, they do the same thing over and over and over again. Right? Here's what's really cool about change, right? If you think about, just the world that we live in, right? Let's talk about the 4 seasons. After winter comes what? Spring. After spring comes summer. That probably won't change. It's probably going to be that way literally till the end of time. After day comes night. After night comes day. After recession comes expansion. And after expansion comes recession. And people are a lot the same because people have the same thoughts. The average person has 60,000 thoughts a day. And 90% of them are the same as the thoughts they had the day before. So that's why people continue to live the same life over and over and over again, right? For 70 years. And then they pass away and they call that a life because they never got any different information. They never changed the set of their sail. right? They were looking around for all these other things to change. They're waiting for politics to change, right? Who's in office determines their mood or determines how successful they can be, right? Or, you know, how good their favorite sports team did this year determines their attitude or determines their mood or how well they're going to attack their own personal life, right? And it's not about, you know, it's not about these other external things changing, because you can't wish that, you know, things were easier. You got to wish that you were better, right? Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. I want you guys to write that down. Don't wish that things were easier, wish that you were better, right? And for things to change, you have to change, guys. And the next philosophy that I want you guys to write down, and this is just a little note, which is you can do remarkable things no matter what happens. Because again, the problems that you guys are all facing in your personal life, in your financial life, in your relationships, whatever the case is, your problems aren't unique. But humans can do remarkable things no matter what happens. And the takeaway from that is there is somebody with the same problems that you have that have found a way to win, and probably people in circumstances that are much worse than you that have found a way to win. So if these other individuals can have all these other problems, right? They have all these other crazy winds, you know, blowing on them from all these different directions, and they could still find a way to push through and to win. Then who else can do that? Anybody can. Anybody with the right ambition, with the right drive, and figures out how to set their sail to just continue to go. And when it comes to network marketing, you know, the philosophy, one of the main ones that I want you guys to write down is called the law of averages, right? When it comes to baseball, we call averages, you know, a batting average, or when it comes to basketball, we call it a shooting percentage. But basically all the law of averages says is if you do something often enough, a ratio will begin to appear, right? So if you think about it in this business, right? Let's just say you go out and you talk to 10 people, right? And you're able to get one person to join your business. Well, now you've discovered the ratio, right? You talk to 10, you get one. Odds are that if you talk to another 10 people, you're going to get another one sign up, right? So now you have a ratio that you can work with. And if you have a ratio, guys, that's all you need to get really wealthy inside of this business, because somebody that's been doing this for a while, like an AJ or like a Joey, maybe they could talk to 10 people and get 9. But if you could talk to 10 people and get 1, and you guys had a 30-day contest, you could actually win that contest. Why? Because if they talk to 10 and get 9, you could talk to 100 and get 10 and you win the contest. This is all about law of averages, right? I want you guys to write down the acronym SIN LOA. SIN, and then you can put a slash, LOA, LOA. SIN stands for safety in numbers, and then LOA stands for law of averages, guys. And here's what's really cool about this thing is the law of averages, it can increase. The more you do it, what do you think is going to happen? The more you share, the more you invite people to the presentations, the more you invite people to the in-person events, the more that you prospect, the more that you follow up, right? The more that you are having these conversations with people, you're going to get a little bit better, because what you lack in skill, you can make up for in numbers. I want you guys to write that one down. What you lack in skill, you can make up for in numbers. And when you do this, guys, the skills have no other choice but to catch up. A lot of times people think personal development is just getting on calls like this or reading books or listening to audios. That's a huge part of it. But a lot of personal growth and personal development is practice, putting in the reps, right? You don't get stronger by watching YouTube videos about people working out at the gym. You get stronger by going to the gym and applying what you learned in those YouTube videos or those TikToks, whatever you're getting your workout routines from, right? But safety numbers, law of averages, and you guys think about baseball again. I mean, you know, the average the batter in the MLB, if they're an amazing batter and they're getting paid millions of dollars a year, they bat what, 300? They bat 300. So that means out of every 10 at bats, they are out 7 out of 10 times, and they make millions of dollars a year. You don't need to bat 1000% in this business to get extremely wealthy. You just need to understand that if you do something often enough, a ratio will appear. And once you've discovered what that ratio is for yourself, then you know exactly what you need to do to go out and blow this thing up. If you talk to 10 and get 1, talk to 100 and get 10. Talk to 1,000 and get 100. Talk to 10,000 and get 1,000. You'll be knocking on the door of Chairman 25, right? If it's to be, it's up to me. So that's number 5, the law of averages, guys. And you can even say this when you're networking in your business. And it's funny because he talks about this in the audio, and I actually did this when he said it, which is you can do this in your networking. Once you've discovered your average, let's say you're getting 3 out of 10 to join you when you're having conversations with people, right? You could literally go to your network and say, hey, I just started this new business and I'm getting about 3 out of every 10 to join me. And hey, listen, we got a call tonight. I don't mind if you come to the call and you just be one of the 7. And that sounds funny, but that's literally what it is. I mean, guys, so many people, they overthink this business. It's all about the numbers. And you hear Joey say this all the time. Some will, some won't. So what next? Right? But it's about going through the numbers. What you lack in skill, you can make up for in numbers, safety in numbers, law of averages, right? You could literally say that to people. Hey, listen, I don't even mind if you come to the meeting. You don't even have to buy anything. I don't care if you join. I just, you being my friend, you'll do me a favor, check this out because it doesn't matter for my averages, right? It matters to me that, I share this with you because if a year from now I'm doing well, right? I don't want you to be able to say that, you didn't share the opportunity with me. I want to be able to say that I at least gave you the opportunity if a year from now, I'm doing really well. But it doesn't matter to me if you join or if you don't. It just matters to me that you take a look and you take a listen, right? Imagine, like, you guys hear that, the difference in that type of a conversation versus like, hey, so-and-so, I got this thing where we're all getting rich trading and it might work. I don't even know if it works. I haven't made any money yet. But I swear to God, I think I'm going to make some money. Some of these other people like Joey and AJ, they make all this money. I just know that I think it's going to work for me. And we got these crazy educators. We got these crazy scanners that will literally tell you what to trade. They're going to tell you what magical cryptos to buy that are all going to go to the moon. We're going to be driving Lamborghinis. And I think it works, but it's $325 to get started. You want to sign up? That's a lot different of a conversation. Right. So these are a couple things that I hope you guys are getting value from already. We're not done yet. If this is making sense so far, let me know in the chat. Give me a yes or a no. If this is making sense so far, let me know if you guys are with me, inside of the chat box. I know this is a little bit of a lot, and I know I'm not usually a person that uses notes. If I'm being honest, I usually kind of just, like to speak from it, but I wanted to organize this so you guys can, you guys can get it. But, I hope you guys are getting some value from this. The last thing that I want to share with you guys is actually number 6, and it's the law of sowing and reaping. And this is actually a story from the Bible. I'm an amateur on the Bible. I'm a believer. I was born and raised Catholic. I'm a Christian. I mean, I'm a believer in all these things. I'm just an amateur on the Bible, but this is actually a story from the Bible, the story of the sower. Okay. And here's 2 things that you need to know about the story of the sower. And that is, the sower was very ambitious. And I want you guys to put yourself in the shoes here because you are the sower in this story. The sower was very ambitious. And because we got, 69 people on the call, the sower was very ambitious. You guys are the ambitious sowers. And the other thing to note is the sower had very excellent seed. You guys all have very excellent seed in this opportunity and in this business. I Am Mastery Academy, let's not get it twisted, is the best opportunity on planet Earth for the average person to win. Hands down, no questions about it. It's not a debate, right? So that's 2 things to note. The sower was very ambitious, AKA you, and the sower had excellent seed, AKA the opportunity that you have to share with other people, okay? So the story starts off like this. The sower goes out to sow the seed. The sower goes out into the marketplace to sow the seed, to share this information with other people, right? But the seed falls by the wayside and the birds happen to get some. I want you guys to write this down. The birds will get some. The birds will get some. What does that mean? You invite John to a meeting. You invite John to a call tonight. We got an overview in 90 minutes. You invite John to the overview tonight. John tells you he's going to show up to the overview call tonight. He's going to check this thing out. 9 p.m. rolls around. John doesn't show up. You follow up with John. You ask him what's going on. You never hear from him again. He went into witness protection and, he's gone forever. What does that mean? The birds got some, right? John went and he told somebody else about the meeting that he was going to jump on tonight. He's going to check out this trading thing. And someone says, you aren't going to do that, one of those things, are you? The birds got some. And now you have 2 options when you get to this point. Somebody talked your prospect out of taking a look at this. And what I did in the beginning, I made the mistake of choosing option number 1, which is I wanted to go find the person that talked that person out of it. And I kind of wanted to go tear them a new, what, right? I wanted to go and I wanted to do that, but that's actually the wrong thing to do, because when you do that, you leave the field and you stop sowing. And here's where the story gets interesting, because he says the sower kept on sowing the seed. That's the most important thing. Write that down. The sower kept on sowing the seed. But the story goes on to say that the seed now falls on rocky ground where the soil is shallow, right? The soil is shallow, and this is not of your making. What does that mean, right? You invite John out to the meeting. John likes it. John gets started. And, the first day comes around and he's going out and he's sharing this with other people. He's sowing the seed and somebody says, boo. Somebody says it's a scam. Somebody says you're not doing one of those things. Somebody says trading doesn't work. And before you know it, the seed that was now sprouting a little plant begins to wither away and die. Your new person falls by the wayside and that little plant shrivels up and dies. The warm weather, write this one down, guys. The warm weather is going to get some. Some people just don't stay, right? The other option to these things, instead of getting mad about them, is you just have to say to yourself, isn't that interesting? There's a lot of time spent feeling really, down and out and feeling bad for yourself, having a pity party and being pissed off and saying like, God, I don't know if this thing is ever going to work. Some people just don't stay. And here's the other bonus tip that I want you guys to write down that you need to get really, really good at. You need to discipline your disappointment. You need to discipline your disappointment, right? So again, the birds are going to get some, the hot weather is going to get some, but you need to discipline your disappointment. The story continues on to say, the sower kept on sowing. The sower kept on sowing, and now the seed falls on thorny ground. The seed gets planted into this thorny ground, and the plant begins to grow. But as the plant begins to grow, the thorny ground begins to strangle the plant and kills the plant. What does that look like, right? You sign somebody up into the business and you tell them that, hey, we got a Thrive call tonight, Tuesday, 7 p.m. We do it every single week. And the Thrive call comes on and that person doesn't show up. And you say, hey, what's going on, man? I thought, you were going to be on the Thrive call at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. And why weren't you on? You're only doing this part-time. And they say, well, man, dude, I had all this trash that was just piling up. You can't just let your trash take over. You got to keep your trash hauled out. Like, this is literally what he says in the audio, right? And then he goes on to say that people let small things cheat them out of big opportunities. I want you guys to think about the people that you may have shared this with in the past. How many people have really given you guys a lame excuse? Type a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard a really lame excuse for why somebody couldn't show up to a call, or why somebody couldn't show up to something that was going to help them get some information to help them take their life and their business to the next level, right? That's the thorns choking these people out. So you got to write down here, the thorns are going to get some. The thorns are going to get some. People let small things cheat them out of massive opportunities. Okay. And then the story goes on here. This is the last part. He says, finally, the seed falls on good ground. And then here's the asterisk and the star that I want you guys to circle. It always will. Finally, the seed falls on good ground, and it always will if you continue to sow the seed, right? And what is the seed? Going out, inviting people, showing the plan to people, asking people to take a look at what it is that you're doing, right? On the side, working part-time on your fortune, working full-time on your job. That's what it means to go and sow the seed, right? And to share this with people, because it will always fall on good people, guys. You can't control what somebody says or thinks about this business. You can't control what somebody says or thinks about I Am Mastery Academy. You can't control what anybody thinks about you, right? You can't control any of those things. All you can do as a human being is you can sow the seed and you can share information with other people. What they do with that information is 100% up to them. And here's what's really cool. The story finishes up by saying that some of the good ground will do 30%. Some of the good ground will do 60%. And then some of the good ground will do 100% of the productivity. And what does this mean in this business? There are some people, guys, in this business, they're just going to do a little bit and that's awesome. There's some people that are going to do a little bit more and that's awesome. And then you got some other people that are really going to take this thing by the you-know-what, and they're going to go run this thing straight to the top. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? Some people will do 30%. Some people will do 60%. Some people will do 100%. And some people will say, well, how do I get the 30s to do 100%? And the answer to that question is, I wouldn't sign up for that class. See, we spend a lot of time asking these questions to ourselves, Like, well, why does the sun come up in the east and it sets in the west? Like, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time worrying about that. It's not really in your control, right? Don't sign up for that class. A lot of times we spend all this time like, well, why does this person really think it's a pyramid? Why does this person really think it's a scam? Why does this person really think it's not going to work? I wouldn't sign up for that class. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's just, it is what it is. Write down again, isn't that interesting? That's literally the only thing. You guys should get accustomed. You should form a habit of every time you hear these things, you just literally smile to yourself and you say, isn't that interesting? You just move on to the next person. You continue to sow the seed. So just to recap here, guys, the 6 philosophies, and there is a little bit more to it. I didn't want this call to go too long, but just again to recap, number 1, profits are better than wages, right? And that means the magic of part-time, working full-time on your job and part-time on your fortune until you're able to work full-time on your fortune. Number 2, it's not what happens that determines your life future. It's what you do about what happens, right? It's not about the blowing of the wind that determines where you end up 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It's about the set of the sail, right? So that's number 1 and number 2. Number 3 was, for things to change, you have to change. Stop wishing for things to be easier. Wish that you were better. Don't wish for less challenges. Wish for more skills, right? You can do remarkable things no matter what happens in your life. Law of averages. And then the last one is the law of sowing. The law of sowing and reaping, guys. This was, I'm going to drop the audio. Like I said, I'm going to drop it in here right now. I actually had it copy and pasted, but if you guys haven't, add this to your arsenal and start listening to it. I'm going to tell you guys the same thing that I was told 5.5 years ago. I was told, listen to that audio every single day until you're making 6 figures a month. I've listened to that audio. I haven't listened to it every day for 5.5 years. I'm just being honest, but I've listened to that audio, and I'm not exaggerating, at least 100 times. There's 365 days in a year. So I could have listened to it a lot more, and I probably would have got to 6 figures a lot sooner if I had done that. But it took me 4 years to get to that point inside of this industry, right? And that never would have happened if it wasn't for, information like this, and obviously calls like this, people like this, and just the winning environment. And, I'll just close off with this. Obviously I've been in this industry for 5.5 years. I spent 3.5 years inside of a different company. It was an amazing company with amazing leaders, amazing products, all that stuff. I learned a lot and I grew a lot. But I will say this, when I say that I Am Mastery Academy is the best opportunity on planet Earth for the average person to win, I'm not kidding. I'm not making that up. I'm not just saying it because it sounds good. There's a reason that I came to this team ambition, partnered with people like Joey, like AJ, like Coach CJ, and these different individuals that you guys all know and love, and got around a winning environment and found a way to not only win, but win at a very, very, very big level. So I'm extremely grateful to be able to share this platform with all of you guys. I'm really looking forward to, this next year. I mean, obviously we got 11 months left of 2022. And it's going to be a movie to say the least. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys got some value from this. Check out that audio. I'm going to drop it in the Telegram chats as well for everybody to listen to. Again, setting your sail is all about learning new information and rewiring your brain. If you already thought like a 6-figure earner and a 7-figure earner, you would already be one. So what that means is you have to rewire what you think up here. This game is won with the 6 inches between your ears, right? So if this is sharpened and polished, you're going to be doing just fine. So guys, I appreciate your time tonight. I'm going to kick this thing back over to AJ, bro. Appreciate you. And let's take this thing home. Appreciate you guys. Peace.
Wow. Guys, type some fire emojis in the chat for Mr. Tyler Sorensen. Guys, I mean, I don't even have anything to say after that. He absolutely annihilated that call. So much value. I'm going to post the recording to this on my YouTube channel. I suggest you probably go watch it a couple times. And hopefully you guys watch the video that he also dropped in the chat. It's Building Your Network Marketing Business by Jim Rohn. Okay. So appreciate you guys. Looks like Tyler just dropped it again in the chat. So Building Your Network Marketing Business by Jim Rohn. Listen to it every day. It's so fire. And go back over your notes through this call. I know I'm going to do the exact same thing. And let's take this thing to the top, guys. Overview in 1 hour and 15 minutes. Love you guys. See you next Tuesday. Peace.